Shut up, Greg. Hey there, beer tubers. Welcome back to Beer Analysis 101 with your host, Maxwell Starr. Tonight, we're going to do a classic IPA from Halifax, Nova Scotia, which is Propeller Brewing Co. IPA, India Pale Ale, 6.5% ABV, yada, yada, yada. You've either had it or you haven't at this point. Anyway, speaking of all the other people who have either had it or haven't had it, at this point, let's go to our panel, which we have 4 people with us tonight. We've got Ashley Sexton, we got Lee from Nova Scotia, we got Mr. Greg. So let's start off with going to Ashley. How are you doing tonight, Mr. Ashley Sexton of Sexton Brewing?
I'm doing great. Thank you. I'm not a fan of this late start time. I'm a little all over the place because we were starting late. I've already had a few beers. Usually the review beer is the first one, but I've been off all day.
Day drinking?
Being a responsible parent, first and foremost.
Both you and the kids have a bottle in their hand.
But yeah, I was actually just checking my Untapped on this. I have had it, and but other than that, I'm doing great. Thanks. Off to the next.
Awesome. All right. Next up is going here in line from what I can see. We've got Greg, who was not last this time.
Hello, Mr. Maxipad. How are you?
You want me to skip you?
Oh, I want you to talk to me. So I've never had this beer before. I'm one of the never had, and I'm also at home being a responsible parent.
To a fake dog.
Yeah.
You have a real cat that deserves as much attention.
Yeah, the real cat doesn't like me though. This dog has to like me.
He can't run away. All right, and of course, last certainly not least, we've got the guy from Nova Scotia himself, who's got a collection of propellers behind his head, unintentionally. Yeah. How you doing tonight, Lee? Mr. High Vibe.
It just worked out. I just. Like we were talking offline, it's like, oh, nice setup you put there, Lee, with your Fandango and your propellers and all that shit. And I was like, no, I actually didn't plan it. It's just I've had those 2 fucking things running all summer because it was so goddamn fucking hot in Nova Scotia. So fuck you.
I can sympathize. It's been about as hot as balls over here. You'd probably have it a little warmer, actually. All right.
No thanks. New Brunswick's always worse. I'll give you that.
Yeah. But you say that
Toronto, we'll go for a beer.
Right. Anyway, let's move right back to me, where I can talk about the history of Propeller, or at least as much of a history I could write in 2 days' time, because I just got home Monday night late. So, the story of Propeller Brewing Co. begins in Halifax, Nova Scotia, with avid homebrewer John Allen, who worked as a prop master in the Canadian film industry during the early 1990s. Including on shows like Lex and Codco. So remember Lex, that sci-fi TV series?
Oh yeah, it had boobies in it.
Yeah.
Apparently he worked on it. Yeah, I remember that. It was pretty interesting. It was on, what channel was that on? Space or?
Yeah, Space.
Yeah.
Great channel.
The long downtimes between movie and TV productions gave John plenty of extra time to perfect his brewing skills. Finally, in 1997, wanting to get out of the film business and with the support of his family, he moved back to Nova Scotia, purchased brewing equipment from Victoria, BC. Victoria, shout-outs to West Coast me. And started out in the basement of the Economy Shoe Shop at 2015 Gottingen Street in Halifax's North End.
That's quite the bar, the Economy Shoe Shop. It's like this big cavernous connection of big rooms and small passageways.
So it's not an actual shoe shop? It was actually a...
It's a bar. Yeah, it's a bar.
Oh. All right. Propeller Brewing Company would open its doors on July 15th, 1997, 2 weeks before the nearby Garrison Brewing Company, launching with their extra special bitter and pale ale on tap. Allen chose the name Propeller not because of his previous work in the film prop industry, but because one night he was drinking at the Old Seahorse pub, which I think is next door to where he opened, and the room started to spin. He became enamored with the mechanical nautical theme and picked that as the name. Initially, they had no intention of bottling, but within 6 weeks of opening, discovered that would definitely need to change. Propeller would later introduce their IPA and London Porter in the years following. Within 10 years, Propeller's popularity had grown, and by their 10th year anniversary, Propeller had expanded and purchased the entire building and opened a craft beer outlet store. By the early 2010s, Propeller was running into serious space issues, and in 2013, expanded their brewing capacity with a larger facility located across the Halifax Harbor on Windmill Road in Dartmouth. Most recently, with the extra space at their Göttingen location, they opened, this is earlier this year, opened a retro arcade in the basement level of the original brewery. Which, cool story. I actually visited the original brewery on Monday, so yay, that's actually where I got my can for tonight, but we'll talk about that later. So other beers from Propeller include their ESB, the London Porter, which I don't get any more in New Brunswick and wish I did. Their Cascade Pale Ale. They have a California Common Lager, a Bohemian-style Pilsner. They have their Double IPA, which I have a can of for later. Their Rye IPA, which I think, Lee, you sent me that one time, maybe. And they have a Stone Fruit Blonde, and they also have seasonals like their Pumpkin Ale, which is due to come out next month. They have a really tasty Russian Imperial Stout, which was formerly called Revolution Imperial Stout, which I wish they could still call it Revolution, for fuck's sake.
Keep the real bottles and the real labels, too.
Yeah, that big red communist star that they had on bottles. That were the best labels. They have the Irish Red, which also used to have a cool label, and now it doesn't. The Dark Berry Sour, and then more. Like one I just picked up the brewery is like a Tropical Session Sour, which sounds really good. All right, so Propeller also makes a lineup of sodas, including the root beer and ginger beer, which I've had before, and I think might even have been my first experience with Propeller. I don't know. Propeller IPA, though, tonight's beer is a 6.5% ABV, 68 IBU, East Coast IPA, East Coast style, made with 2-row Crystal 75 malt and Canadian wheat, hopped with Amarillo and Warrior hops, and brewed using Ringwood yeast number 1187. As of 2017, Propeller IPA remains the best-selling craft beer in the NSLC. So it's still quite popular today. I don't know if it's still in first place, but it was as of 2 years ago.
Probably still is, I'd imagine.
Yeah, it's incredible. You can buy this in 6-packs. You can buy it in tall boy cans.
Yep.
And we'll get into more of that in a minute. But let's go over to the comments. Who wants to read them?
There's nothing really there. It's just Redbeard saying hi and Chris saying hi and then Sexton saying hi back. And it's a whole circle jerk thing that we don't need to really
jerk. So I just read the comments. Thanks, Lee.
Here's yours. Hope your hair is fresh and smells lovely. Yeah. Chris is definitely out washing his hair tonight. Beard all be fresh and sexy. Yeah, well, you say that because you didn't find the fucking beer because you didn't go to Sudbury.
For what I understand, Redbeard's beard is probably full of like spilt girly drinks that he drank all day and like cheese curds or whatever other bullshit he was eating.
Okay, I'm going to call it Redbeard on something right now, and I've just noticed this now, and it's taking me close to 2 years. His avatar has fucking black rimmed glasses on, but I've never in my life seen Redbeard wear glasses.
Oh.
Well, I think they're supposed to be sunglasses, aren't they?
He always wears sunglasses, but
yeah.
Are those supposed to be sunglasses?
Yeah, like he usually wears red glasses. If you watch any videos from this year's Beer Fest, I stole his glasses, and they were
all right.
You can only have so much red though on your avatar, I guess.
I guess. All right. Apologies. Sorry, Redbeard.
No, I don't apologize to Redbeard. He can take some shit. Fuck him.
All right.
Kiltgate.
Kiltgate.
That's right.
Be careful, you might get killed.
No. That was almost approaching funny.
Yeah, right. All right. So, Ash, what's your history with this beer? I think you said you didn't have any, right?
No, I've had this beer. I had this beer. I checked my Untapped. I had it in 2017. I bought 2 cans of this. Actually, I bought 1 can of this last week. I had it, knowing that I can get the can for tonight. So this is the 3rd time I've had it. That's it.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, move it over to Greg. What's your history? I think you were actually the one that said
I have no history with this beer, which I was surprised at. I thought I had some sort of history with the beer, and actually scrolling through the brewery, it appears that I've never had Like I thought I had this before, so I actually wonder if I maybe had it and didn't untap it. I was pretty sure I had the double IPA 1.2, but since Untapped is the god and king and final judge of us all, I haven't had it before, nor have I had anything from this brewery. So I'm a virgin.
Wow.
Boy, Nick. Oh.
It's a new adventure, Greg.
Oh.
All right. So, Lee, what's your history with Propeller?
Well, Propeller goes way back to when it first started, but this beer, probably whenever it first came out, I don't remember if it came out as a beer on... No, it was not a beer that came out on launch. It was like a couple years or something into their brewery that it came out. Because they were really experimental when they really started. Like, they had a bunch of different little beers here and there that they were testing out and making until they finally solidified their sort of core brand styles. And I mean, I'm typically not an IPA guy in the first place, so when it comes to Propeller stuff, this isn't the one I usually gravitate towards. Not that I think it's crap or anything like that, but this is probably one of their beers I have drank the least, all said and done. Like the ESB and the Porter, and of course the Russian Imperial Stout. I probably technically should have shares in their company or something at this point, probably keeping them afloat a bit, the amount of that shit I drank. But this, haven't drank as often, but I think I even have drank the double IPA more than I've had this. But yeah, that's about it.
Wow, I'm surprised. You would have drank this one more than the other ones, but my story is, I guess you could say, similar, but different, obviously. My history with this beer goes back. I think this might actually have been. I'm not sure if I had the root beer from them as a soda pop before I had something like this. I might have, but the first time I remember trying a Propeller beer, I think was a buddy of mine back in 2002 had brought some Propeller IPAs to a buddy's place down the road here, and I was hanging out while they were working on the motorcycles or something like that. So, and he's like, "Check this out! I got this," and he lets me have a sip of his beer, and I'm like, "Oh God, that's nasty!" So, and I absolutely hated it at first because like I wasn't used to drinking hoppy beers, but this is going way back to 2002, and it was one of my first experiences with trying a beer that isn't a lager, but. Fast forward to probably about 2009, 2010, when I started getting more and more experimental beers. I tried this again, and it's actually in those early days of craft beer drinking. This was one of the first IPAs that I really started to like, and this actually became. Who's typing?
That was me. Sorry.
All right.
Sorry, mein Führer.
Yeah, shut up. Dumb golf. All right, so all distractions aside, yeah, this was one of the first beers that really became like one of my go-to IPAs, and I actually used to buy this really frequently back when I lived in my old apartment, like several years ago. And it's still a beer that I like gravitating towards today, like especially if I was like my chili recipe, for example, and I like to add this beer to it because it adds quite a bit of an interesting flavor to it, or use this instead of water. So making recipes with that, or just drinking it like as a 6-pack of IPAs. They're not the best IPA, but something very like still hoppy and tasty and accessible. This is one of my go-to beers, and probably the one Propeller beer that I've drank the most. So polar opposites, similar story to Lee, I guess. I don't know. All right, moving right along to the comment section. Where did we leave off? I think we were talking about Redbeard's beard, and then his sunglasses.
It's basically just Eric Gilbert's in the chat saying hi, and yeah, Redbeard said it was sunglasses in his picture, and that's about it. Sexton asking Eric about something, some sort of beer, cupcake, or
that's that panda cupcake killer panda cupcake. Is that it?
Yeah, something killer cupcake panda. Fuck, whatever.
I don't know, that new IPA that is apparently a hard pass from Flying Monkeys.
I haven't even tried it yet.
Yeah. That just came out, didn't it? Like,
Yeah, about like 3 weeks ago, something like that.
So not poke approved.
It was not poke approved, unfortunately.
yeah. Well, yeah, but he didn't approve it. Right in a freaking All right, so moving right along. Anybody ready to give some thoughts?
You know what? I wanted to expand on a thought that you had mentioned. Do they actually say that this is an East Coast IPA? Because I thought I heard you say that.
Yeah, this is what I said.
I think in terms of what they're thinking though is like more like that used to be a term that used to be like a catch-all for like British style IPAs made on the East Coast too.
100%. Okay, so yeah, I'll run with that. You know, this has like English IPA written all over it for me. This is you know, this is a very floral. This is a slightly piney, high on the caramel malts. Definitely more malt and yeast driven, but still more like that dirty, earthy, florally type of bitterness and flavor profile from the hops. It's definitely a beer that, if this goes back to it, like the early 2000s or something you're saying, Nick, like this is just sort of like a super old school IPA. It's funny, the one I had, the first one I had, I actually took a picture because after I cracked it, something didn't sound right. And I took a pic, like I looked inside the can, and there was like at least like an inch and a half of like headspace, if not more. And I poured it out, and it was definitely. I mean, like this is like a nice orangey. It looks darker on camera, but it's like more of like that, like an orangey amber type of color. This one was more like darker, obviously oxidized. Like thinking back on it, when I drank it, it tasted more like that Stone Arrogant Bastard Ale that I really hated. So when I cracked this for the second time and I saw it, it sort of made me feel a little bit better about it. But I mean, if we're for an old school English, a proper English IPA style, if that's what they're going for, I think it hits the mark really well. I enjoy it. I mean, it's not something I'm going to rush out and buy all the time because I prefer a West Coast IPA for like a drinker, but the English one's very nice. And nonetheless, for style, I will give this. I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10 for style. For personal enjoyment, though, I will give it a 6.75.
All right, 6.75 out of 5 it is for you. Yeah, I'm not really expecting people to like this as much as like MGD, but anyway, we'll get into my thoughts later. All right, so Ashes in the books. Let's go over to Mr. Gregory and see what he's thinking in the land of the Fast and Furious. Your fast-paced lifestyle. In your fast-paced lifestyle, do you have time in your life for this beer?
Yes, I do, Nick. Assuming you allow me to talk.
Yeah. Sorry, I'll let you talk in a second. Go ahead, Greg.
All right, you ready?
You ready?
Ready? Okay.
Ready? Go. How about now?
I'm gonna just copy what Ashley Sexton said. Basically, it's a super old school IPA. I mean, I think right at the beginning, if I was half listening to you, I thought I heard Amarillo and Warrior hops. Yep. Oh, those are the hops that
correct, I believe. Yep.
That most people who hate IPAs are used to in an IPA. It's like, oh, they're so bitter and terrible. It's old school. It's resiny. It's kind of a little piney. I like it. It's good. It's nothing special. It is sort of an old recipe. I think we're all used to the fancy schmancy New England style or East Coast or newer hop West Coast or something. But I don't know. It's something nice. It's sort of comforting about a nice beer. I have no idea how old this is because half the date's gone on my can. I know it's from 2019. From when 2019, I don't know. But it doesn't taste like it's that old. So I guess it's a summer bottling or canning. I don't have much else interesting to say about it. I'm just going to I'm going to throw 7.5 all around for both style and enjoyment.
All right. Sounds fair. All right, let's go over to the.
All right. Yeah, it really is just sort of your basic English IPA in style. Very much hasn't changed a lot in the 20 plus years it's been around, or 20 years it's been around. However long it's been, somewhere around there. I wish I could recall the exact date they first started making this one, but yeah. Nothing about this is super exciting for all you fucking stupid haze bros out there, and all you people who like the big super tropical flavors and all that bullshit. You're not going to get that here. This is very much subdued. It would make a great food beer. So it'd be like a food beer with a bit more punch to it, kind of thing. So you're having a meal and you want something a little bit higher alcohol and a little bit more flavor. Works pretty well for that, I've found. Even though I generally don't eat food with beer, but it has worked in the past with like fish and chips and stuff like that. It's got a good enough bitterness that yes, indeed, it's an IPA. And yeah, if you're looking at this in the context of classic sort of English style IPA, I'd throw as high of a mark as a 9 on it. I don't think you can quite do this all that much better without starting to break the boundaries of the style. So this is pretty good stuff. Personal enjoyment, I'd throw a 7 at it. I could always drink it. Someone give it over to me. It's not something I seek out. I'd much rather have their porter or their ESB or something like that, but that's just my personal preference. But yeah.
Right on. All right. Well, moving over to myself and what I think about this, I found that this beer is definitely. I get it. Maybe it's taken me a while to really see it, but I get where you're coming. Where it's kind of like this more traditional, very much like earthy, pine forward kind of hops that you would get in like traditional British. I find it's got quite a bit more grapefruit than you would find like maybe some of the traditional like English IPAs, but at the same time, there's definitely a traditional an English flair to this beer. I find it's got it's like a floral taste, pine, grape with a hint of grapefruit in there, a little bit of tangerine orange mixing in with the caramel malt. It's almost like very like an orange biscuit or something like that.
That I'll agree with it.
Yeah. I find the mouthfeel on this thing is actually quite soft, or at least the can that I've got, which is super fresh. My can was canned on September 6th, so it's practically brand new. But I will say that like the hop character you get from this or like a several-month-old bottle of is almost the same. The only thing that really happens to this beer that if you let it age too long is that the hops will start to get about more like a cardboardy, papery kind of flavor, which I haven't heard from anybody here. So I think we're doing okay. One thing I will say about this beer is that it's definitely old school by today's standards. The definition of what an IPA today is definitely changed when you consider all the IPAs that the Haze Bros like, the super juicy hoppy shit like Chris likes. But
fucking Haze Bros.
Yeah, fucking Haze Bros. But this harkens back to a day when it was like the IBU arms race, like 68 IBUs, big pine forward, like people looking for the bitter shit they could drink, rather than so much of the flavor. It's almost like hot sauces. You buy you want to buy the spiciest shit, no matter how gross it tastes. But this beer, the biggest thing I've always liked about this beer is just it's super accessible. At least it is in the Maritimes, where it's $14 for a 6-pack of this stuff here, and it's kind of like your going rate for a craft beer from that you can get in a 6-pack. So it's like a go-to staple and one of my favorite pickups to get. Like I would pick this up over I can't get the pail anymore. I can get that Cascade pail, which is not too bad, or the ESB from Propeller, and I would probably pick this up over some of the Garrison products that we also have. But all told, it's not going to win awards against big new beers like from Trailway or from Collective Arts or something that's like juicy and hazy stuff. But if you're looking for an old school IPA that's just a good drinking beer that you want to keep a lot of in your fridge that you can buy in a 6-pack, this is still a fantastic option because it's, despite, I mean, unless you don't like pine forward stuff, this thing is still super friggin' tasty to me anyway. So I think for the style, for me, I'm going to give it an 8.5. And for overall, 7. That's me. That's my opinion. I'm sticking to it.
Well, you better stick to it because you said it.
Now I'll do the math on this thing. Stupid StreamYard.
Yeah. So Eric Gilbert was wondering who's typing. And then Ashley was like, Jick is typing hard. Just pushing
banging those numbers. Bang, 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 bang.
Alan's Beer and Gaming says cheers. Cheers. Thanks for watching. And Redbeard asks, what's next week's beer?
Well, he did ask that, but we'll get to that after the ratings. At least we know that the question's been asked, and we will answer that shortly as soon as I show. I like doing things in order.
So I'm willing to bet. So this beer's been around for what, like 18, 20 years or something like that? It'll probably still be around in 18 to 20 years. There's a market for this because not everyone's going to want what the coolest or what the trendiest beer is at the moment. They don't want to line up for the fucking newest release. This is just
not only that, you got a generation of craft beer drinkers that have grown up drinking this stuff.
Exactly, right? So yeah. I've always picked off, like with Amarillo, though, when I saw that, I was with Amarillo, I always attribute like a lot of like sweet tangerine and like orange flavors to it, which I don't get from this. I get the Warrior because I use Warrior myself when I homebrew, so I get the bittering from that, but I don't pick up on the Amarillo. I would have thought for sure that there was like some sort of old school English like Fuggles or ESB or something for the late editions on this to get that floral note, but fuck, what the hell do I know? So
yeah, it's not like beer or anything.
Like Nick was saying, I am picking up like a little teeny bit of citrus, like just mixing in sort of with the caramel base of this, but it's not big. Definitely not big.
Yeah,
it's more like a white grapefruit where it does come off as like very bitter and pine forward, almost like it's just a little bit of citrus in the back. I am getting a little bit of the tangerine, but it's very subtle. I do find the Warrior dominates this beer.
Yeah, it's kind of like sucking the sap out of a pine tree and then eating a grapefruit afterwards.
There you go.
You're probably not wrong.
Not that I've ever done that weird combination of things, but
I'm pretty sure you've had your mouth in some pretty weird shit.
You've sucked logs before, so
wow. You guys just that low hanging fruit and just
low hanging fruit, man.
Low hanging fruit. That's what it's all about. All right, so
Greg is the branch that provides the low hanging fruit.
The twig and the berries.
All right, well that's a decent going up there.
I think that's a totally fair score for this beer. You know?
I think so.
I think so too. That's I'm happy with those results.
I'm happy that you're happy, Nick.
I'm happy that you're happy that I'm happy.
Because fuck, what would we do if you weren't happy?
Yeah, and Propeller should be happy with these results too, and send us all free cases of beer. It's instead of the IPA, please send me free cases of the porter.
You know what? I totally should have picked up the ESB because when I was at the LCBO that I picked this can up at, they had the ESB right next to it.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Fuck,
I would check it out.
Yeah,
should. I can't even get the ESB in the single cans. I can only buy the bottles.
And it's fucking brewed in your backyard.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Well, they're really fighting for shelf space. So
okay, it's within a few hundred kilometers of them. Like fuck, semantics.
Yeah, you guys are doing. When I was in your NSLC there last week, you guys look like you're doing a lot better than you.
Oh yeah, definitely a lot better. Like a lot more space and everything. It's just. It's like there's so many craft breweries in Nova Scotia now that whole fucking that wall. There's like a little section now where there's some international stuff, but the majority of it is all just fucking Nova Scotia craft brews now.
Yeah, it's like mostly local craft. You don't even have a lot from outside the province. You just got a lot of Nova Scotia shit, which is kind of neat to see.
Yeah, I think the most exotic thing there is probably Ransack the Universe as far as outside craft beers go.
Yeah. All right, so let's take this off the screen. come on. Fucking StreamYard is acting up. All
Nick,
right, so.
Does your can say Ringwood?
Yep.
Yeast?
Yep.
See, my can says English ale yeast.
Same here, yeah.
My can doesn't say it. But, hold on. I had a bottle of it there the other night. Actually, this is last night, which does say... fuck, where is it?
You just bought the shit out of this stuff, eh?
Yeah, there you go.
Like cans, bottles.
Yeast.
Oh, and it actually says
Probably,
Crystal 75.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, since they started...
That just says
Zero
Crystal.
wheat malt, crystal malt. And yeah, this actually says Crystal 75, Amarillo Warrior, and the yeast type.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, they only recently started canning, like in the last couple of years, so they probably have old labels on all their bottles. Like, this is technically their updated label design or whatever, but that label design's been around before they started canning.
Oh my god, yeah, the one I took from the one I had in 2017 that I had on Untapped, the label, and it's a can, it's completely different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to find a picture of what the bottle used to look like.
Oh, that's not working at all. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's their old school label style there.
Yeah, exactly. That's their old label style. They used to have they had those right from the beginning.
Oh, I've never seen that on the can though. So that's like that's probably like their first run of cans right there.
This sort of has this sort of has a feel of like a anchor label.
Yeah,
sort of.
True.
They do. I really do like the Propeller logo. I mean, it is a cool logo as far as beers go, because especially if you go to their brewery, they got. I wish I had my camera here, or actually, you know what? I've got it on my phone. Just a sec. But they got this cool on the side of the building. They got this cool 3D Propeller logo. Like you can see. There we go. Like on the side of the building right there. It's actually like a 3D or something.
Oh yeah, it's got depth to it.
Yeah. Wish I had a better picture of that, but whatever. Anyway, but yeah, it's kind of a classic Nova Scotia logo, like as far as craft beer goes. So this makes you think a good craft beer. Anyway, moving right along. I do believe we were asked a question, and Redbeard, to answer your question, we are going to do Löwenbräu.
Everyone everywhere can do this.
I think it's like Löwenbräu.
Nick Löwenbräu.
Yeah, I just call it Löwenbräu because fuck those Nazis. I'm not gonna fuck around their umlauts and bullshit. Like fuck them.
Don't make fun of Nick's fans.
Like who won who won two world wars, motherfucker? Well, I didn't fucking we didn't lose two world wars.
Means in it, man.
I still goddamn remember when I gave like just sort of like a half enthused review of Löwenbräu back in the day, and some fucking Nazi fuck started going on about how great their goddamn beer was, and it's like, well, you lost two fucking world wars, so you should shut up.
Is that the guy that started asking if you were part of like the Brotherhood or some shit because you had a skinhead?
No, I think that was on a. I think that was on like a albino rhino video or something like that.
I don't know. I remember seeing something like, "Are you a skinhead?" kind of comments on one of your videos once.
Oh.
This is like going on like 10 years ago. All right, so next week's beer,
Löwenbräu. Could be a skinhead too. We don't know.
All right.
Yeah, not all skinheads are racist.
That's true.
Just because you get a bald head doesn't mean you're a skinhead. Anyway,
not all races are skinheads. So.
Speaking of bald heads that are racist, Greg, is this convenient for you to get?
Oh, I haven't checked, but I assume it probably is.
All right, let me know.
Plus, I'll go anywhere for a beer that's literally named after you.
Yeah. It's German for low-hanging dick.
That's right. Dragon dick on the
Moving right along. Okay, I want to thank everybody all three viewers right now, which is probably us, Redbeard, Alan's Beer and Gaming. Thank you for being a different person today. I think you're pretty sure you commented on our stuff before, but nice seeing you around. Eric Gilbert and Redbeard, of course. Thanks for watching. We'll be
Mr.
doing
Lowe,
it
are
on-
we changing our time next week, or is that in the future?
Are we doing or what?
Didn't you say we're changing our time next week, or did I?
We're October. We're going back to our usual.
October. Okay, so yeah, because this is why we're so drunk, because we're all waiting for Nixon's 8 o'clock.
Yeah, I know. It's because I gotta fucking work late shifts this month, so I'm not getting off work until 8 o'clock your time.
I'm not drunk. Speak for yourself.
That's okay, but just that much.
The guy that almost burst out like sloppily laughing of a few minutes ago. Come on, Sexton.
Ashley needs to put on those calories for working in the outdoor mall in the fall. So come on.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we're gonna sign off here. Thanks for watching. Thanks Ash. Thanks Greg. Thanks Lee for coming in tonight, and thanks everybody for watching. We'll talk to you folks in a bit because we're coming back online to drink more beer and continue making complete asses of ourselves. And I think you guys know the finishing words of the day.
Penis.
Penis.
Venus.
I want to throw a vagina in there.